There we go.
And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, ex-truck driver, and
Hey, everybody, it's Noah here, and I cannot drive a truck to save my life.
that, that it's not as glamorous as it seems.
Well, it is great to be here, Ben. Thank you for letting me join you. We're blasting this out, live streaming to both our audiences, and we're going to have a lot of fun this morning.
Oh, absolutely. We're. I wouldn't be surprised if this was an hour and a half show. So get ready, folks. We're going through everything. We're going through cryptos. We are going through politics. We are going to talk about rich people dying at the bottom of the ocean. It's this is a no holds barred show.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Ben, thanks for having me on. And I'm not sure if I'm a guest on your show or you're a guest on my show, but I think the guest is always the more interesting person. So I think that's you.
Well, I don't care how it looks. We're here.
We're
That's
here.
all that matters. Um, it's. I received a text this morning from one of one of one of my friends up in New York uh, who work for it's a blockchain analysis company uh, up in New York, and they're the guys who they and rich people pay them to let them know when they should buy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key to knowing when you should buy cryptos. Not the exchange price, not any of that. All the information you need is on the blockchain. On are we going down or are we going up? And he's the volumes that he's seeing, they're seeing that I saw on fiatleak.com yesterday was unreal. The
Yeah, it's
amount,
flying.
yeah, the amount of friggin' Bitcoin that is being bought and Ethereum that's being bought. Now, there's a difference between actually being purchased and being traded. They watch for HODL wallets. Those are what they call accumulating wallets. And they can label those, they can tag them. And so every trade or every purchase into that wallet, they know that that wallet will hold it for a certain amount of time, a year or 2 years. And uh, there's there's a certain type of wallet which is usually at exchanges, and uh, custody organizations like Coinbase and
Mm-hmm.
that. Those are called permanent wallets.
Mm.
Those are wallets that every crypto they buy, they will never sell. They'll hold it as an asset and never sell it. Those are gaining. Now, this is just in the last 2 weeks. Those group of wallets that will never sell have now, in the last 2 weeks, they've purchased 250,000 Bitcoin.
Wow.
in 2 weeks. There's only 50,000 Bitcoin liquid on a daily average, and that's dropping 7% per day.
So, Ben, is this institutional money coming in now, or is this just high net worth individuals, or what do you think it is?
Uh, probably 70% corporations and the money managers and 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 really the employees of large corporations are actually being told by their boss for the last year, accumulate a wallet for X. Right? So BlackRock has actually been buying Bitcoin for about the last 2 years. And they have an accumulating wallet. Now, we don't know which one's theirs yet because none of the they can't track the inflow, the second level inflow into that wallet and actually label it as an entity or a person where they can track and actually claim it as BlackRock's. Now, once BlackRock goes live and they actually get their ETF license, then they'll be able to track it, because then they can actually create an account with BlackRock, send in a certain amount of money, and watch for that trade in actual Bitcoin. And once they can do that, they can label that permanent wallet.
And they probably have several wallets, you would think, right?
Oh yeah. And from what I've heard, every one of their permanent wallets are actually like multi-sig wallets. It's, you're not going to have one person holding that much freaking Bitcoin. So through institutional money coming in right now, I mean, if you're on Twitter, check out Michael Saylor's last couple of days of post. He's screaming it from the friggin' mountaintops. They're all in, boys. The big boys are all in. He said it on an interview yesterday. He's like, the gates are open, folks. Hold on tight. And Michael Saylor is not an exaggerator. He isn't a hype guy. He's a cheerleader, but he's not a hype guy. He's not like, woo, I'm going to trade my Bitcoin as soon as it hits X. No, that guy's never going to sell his or his company's Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, Ben. He's got a lot up there, but the window to front run institutional demand for Bitcoin is closing. So there you go, right there. So Ben, how soon until we get this total supply shock where where the price just starts jumping dramatically every day?
I um
Feels like we're close.
I'd give it. I'd say by July 30th, 31st, that time frame, because let's see, BlackRock will get approved probably around the 14th.
Oh, you think that quick?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's, you say approved for their new Bitcoin ETF.
Yes.
Yeah.
BlackRock runs the SEC. BlackRock runs Gary Gensler.
Hmm.
It's BlackRock owns a majority of so many companies. It's like BlackRock is the root of the progressive economic plumbing. We've all seen the BlackRock chart where they're up on top and it shows like everything that they own, like all the shares. Well, if you flip that over, BlackRock is the root of the tree
Mm.
of the progressive corporate financial economy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they coordinate everything. They run all of the NGOs. They run all of the politicians. They run everything. BlackRock runs everything. That's the operations hub. Yeah, and when they say go, Gary Gensler says, "You want that today, tomorrow, when you need that by."
Right.
It's BlackRock has filed for, I think, 557 ETFs. They've only been rejected once,
Right.
and they got that one approved like 2 weeks later.
Right. You think someone got fired at the SEC over that one?
Yeah, it's like, wait, you know who BlackRock is? We're sorry. We're sorry. Don't fire all of us and have us Clinton.
Exactly. So basically, this is they've got a perfect record, and this is probably not going to be the one to break the streak.
Right. BlackRock doesn't ask for permission. BlackRock tells people what to do. It's when you're that big and you control like $9 trillion. $9 trillion. Let's just put it this way. 9 trillion seconds ago, the earth didn't exist. That's how much 9 trillion is.
Wow.
Yeah. That's an unimaginable number. And that's why inflation in certain areas doesn't matter, because BlackRock is the valve. They are the plumbers, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
When the Federal Reserve prints money, they push it into either the federal government, and now there are they're opening windows for like Illinois, California. So California can go directly to the Fed. They don't have to go through the federal government. That's what the Fed Now program is. It's now there's just the Fed. There, all of the banks are just branches of the Federal Reserve now.
Mm-hmm.
And your account will be linked with the Fed Now system. So your online app, you'll have an account at the Federal Reserve Fed Now system.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Oh, absolutely nothing. And that's something else people have to realize is I've heard a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to use this new central bank currency. Now, they're not going to have an airdrop, all right? That's not how this is going to work. It's just the digits in your account are now going to be called central bank digital currencies.
Mm-hmm.
The money you have in your checking account will just be now a CBDC. It's not like you're going to have to log on to a new system. They're just going to integrate into the existing system and then switch it over on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to know any difference when it happens. And
Now, what do you think, Ben? We've all heard Cliff High talk about how they're going to try this 3 times and it's going to fail. Do you think this is the first version they're going to try and roll out and it's not going to work?
Yeah, I think the first one might not technically work good. So they'll have to do it again. But what I think the second and the third failure is going to be, the second one will be everyone's going to be rushing in to Bitcoin one way or another. And they're going to be trying to freeze accounts so you can't. Well, that's not going to work. That's not going to work at all because there's going to be such an and plus by that time Gary Gensler will be gone. See, that's why all of these entities like BlackRock, that's why number one, they took out all of the banks that could short actual Bitcoin. So they wiped out the shorts with Silver and
Signature.
Right, Signature Bank and all. They wiped out anybody with the capability to short Bitcoin in America. All right. Then what do? Then they go after Coinbase, Binance US. They go after all of the popular retail exchanges. So the SEC wipes out the competition, or doesn't wipe out the competition, but puts them in a headlock. And that drops the price of Bitcoin. You know, this has been a price drop so that other influential people can get in now. these large corporations communicate through the media. When BlackRock leaks a document or BlackRock does a press release, they're not talking to the general public. They're talking to their partners and associates. That's who they're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving the nod. Hey guys, it's
Mhm.
go time. That's why right after BlackRock announced that they were getting an ETF, all these other places filed. They let the king
Mhm.
go up to the buffet and then they could go up,
Uh-huh.
you know. So then they get Coinbase, they get Kraken, they get Binance. Well, out of those three, the weakest of the individuals is Brian Armstrong
Mm.
at Coinbase, because Jesse Powell at Kraken, that dude's solid as a rock. He is a true coiner. I mean, he's a libertarian, let's take on the government, viva La Vegas,
Mhm.
V for, victory. And so he will fight. Then you got Binance, which is ran by China. So they don't
Mhm.
care. They're like, whatever, doesn't
Mhm.
matter. And so you get Coinbase in a headlock.
Mm.
And then who files? BlackRock. But
Mhm.
in the filing and in the leaked information, they say BlackRock will be using Coinbase for custody.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So
Oh.
that's BlackRock winking at Coinbase as saying, hey, play the game.
Uh-huh.
And I guarantee Brian Armstrong said yes. Because then all of a sudden we get news Coinbase should have this issue with the SEC resolved in about 2 weeks.
Mm.
Really? A settlement that quick?
Mm.
Gee, unlike Ripple, who's
Right. I was going to ask you. I was
get
wanted to ask you
their
about
ass
that.
whooped.
Is and I know you're not a fan of XRP at all, but do you think?
Oh, no. No, I have no problem with XRP. It's I'm a freedom guy.
Mm.
Right? My number one value is freedom. Right? I don't care what coin you. I'm not a maximalist. The only thing I'm a maximalist at is freedom. Is you choose your you choose your currency. If you want to use XRP, use XRP. If you want to use Litecoin, use Litecoin. I it it has no effect on me. I don't care.
But was that when they sued Ripple? Was you think that was just to get to buy a couple years so the big boys could get ready and get organized and just slow
Yes,
things down a bit?
yes, and that's now this may don't let this frighten you about Trump. That's the one thing Trump agreed
Mm-hmm.
with the progressives is you can't let Bitcoin grow too quickly, because if they would have if they wouldn't have introduced paper contracts, paper futures on actual Bitcoin in 2000, I think 18 or 17, December 2017, I think. Bitcoin would have kept just going up because there was no way to short it. Right? Now Trump agreed with that. That's why Trump and the other guy allowed the CB or Chicago CEB, whatever the hell it is, one of those acronyms, allowed them to launch a futures market on Bitcoin. Because Trump had the plan, and Bitcoin would have destroyed that plan, because that plan needs focus. That plan needs the people paying attention to the progressives, seeing what they're doing, seeing the corruption, seeing all of that. The only emotion stronger than fear is greed. That's it. Yeah, fear and greed. I've seen people run out in the middle of the street without looking because they dropped a $5 bill. It's greed is stronger than fear. So if they would have let Bitcoin run, the American and global attention would have went straight to Bitcoin and would have collapsed the US dollar too soon. See, this is all about timing it right. Now, why BlackRock and all of this and all of these progressives are now running into Bitcoin is for two reasons. They know Bitcoin is the reserve asset of the future system. Everyone knows it, except the average Joe and Jane, except those who watch my show and your show, and but they're also using it as a weapon against Trump, because they're going to remember Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't have an agenda. So it's a good weapon or a bad weapon. It's who holds it that uses it for good or bad. And hang on one second. Just a heads up on everyone watching my show over on YouTube. Half hour is almost up, guys. Transfer over to Rumble. There's a link under the show, and I'll let you know when, right before I shut off the YouTube channel. You got about 1 minute. The reason I do that each show is that YouTube, after a half hour, it actually kicks in. I got a friend who works at YouTube that let me know, like, the algorithm. And he's like, look, if you go live and you cut off at least before 33 minutes.
Well, 33, huh?
Yep.
Of course.
Ironically.
Of course.
It won't be able to recognize your voice prior to that because you're streaming live, and it doesn't have the ability to catch you that quick. All right, guys, we're switching over. Bye-bye, YouTube. All right, let me do this here. Save changes. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Are you buying and selling cryptos on the same laptop that you're using to browse the internet, read your email, and visit social media sites? If so, you're exposing your cryptos to theft. Whenever you're online, you're at risk of getting hacked and having your identity stolen. How would you feel if someone stole all of your cryptos? What would that do to your finances? Guard your cryptos with a safe and secure laptop from Calyx Solutions. Each laptop is set up just for you and your cryptos, and then we walk you through exactly how it works. Don't risk the security of your cryptos. Order a crypto laptop from Calyx Solutions now to secure your crypto future. Learn more at calyxsolutions.io.
And we're back. All right. If you call for a crypto laptop or Liberty laptop, which is the only laptop that is secure and helps you clean your identity off the internet at the same time, lets you explore the whole internet. If you call now, 702-845-8276, let Patrick know that your savings code is Noah. All right? So Noah will get credit for that.
If you call right now, Pat will be working all weekend long. So call immediately.
Yes. Call or text, and if you get a recording, leave a message, and then call our club number, which is at the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club here in Sarasota, Florida. And one of our guys here will help you with a laptop order, but use the name Noah.
Oh, that's cool. I love what you guys are doing over there, Ben, on that stuff. You guys have an option to get him in a Mac, or is it PC only?
Oh, it's Apple and also here. Let me just do this real quick. Where's that? There we go. All right, let me do this. And there we go. Share.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, it's we have Apple. Oh, hang on. We have Apple, and we also have PC. And just give the Liberty laptops are selling like crazy because it's the only laptop that actually protects you, and how we build them from the laptop itself. And let me explain that. That can actually, so just give us a call. Patrick will take care of you. Let me get rid of that. All right. Oh, wait. Wrong one. There we go.
There we go.
Sorry, Noah.
Hey, that's good.
All right.
That's good. Hey, Ben, I got to ask you about something. Getting
Absolutely.
back to all of our talk about this new system that's rolling in. Tell me what you think, but this whole submarine story. I mean, I've actually been working on it. We're going to cover it over on our site. Been working on a story, but I mean, are you telling me that the Federal Reserve started with the Titanic sinking back in whatever it was, and then now we got the Titan going to visit the Titanic, and it allegedly blows up right as this system is coming to an end? I mean, they're just laughing at us, Ben.
The irony of it all. And that's the progressive movement. The progressive movement They have a playbook. That's it. If you look at World War One and you overlay it over 2016, right, and forward, if Hillary would have won, we would have went to war. That's World War One. During World War One and a few years after World War One, they had these Spanish flu epidemic.
Yes.
Everyone wore masks. It shut down the American economy. They shut New York was closed for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their pandemic of 1970. That's why Trump said while he was president, he said, and you may or may not remember this, we haven't gone through something like COVID since 1917.
Mm-hmm.
He said that for a purpose, because those who understand history understand that 1917 pandemic was a roll into 1918 and 1919. 1918 and 1919 were the Red Scare, right? Antifa was around in 1918, except they were called Black Flag.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the flags. They're the exact same flag.
Yes, they are.
Right? And they had the unions. So, and instead of Black Lives Matter, they had Women's Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what happened, just like Black Lives Matter, the union and Antifa set fire to a clothing facility called Triangle Clothing Company up in New York. They locked all the doors and set it on fire with the employees inside. Then the media covered it, and the muckrakers, and you know what muckrakers are, right?
I've heard of them.
They were the early progressive media,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right? They portrayed the triangle fire as why the workers of the world need to unite. So they set the fire. They locked all the doors. There were women jumping out of the top of the building. And those pictures were over all the newspapers all over America. So that caused what is known as the Portland strike. And the Portland strike triggered the Chicago strike. And so they basically, they had riots, they had looting in all these major cities. Well, what people don't know about is Operation Clean Sweep. All right. Operation Clean Sweep was when J. Edgar Hoover, Coolidge, all of these other people in the 1920 election, all right, won. And they had Operation Clean Sweep. Operation Clean Sweep arrested and deported 125,000 people. Communist sympathizers, union organizers, right? That was Operation Clean Sweep. We are literally going through, and Trump knows this. This is New York history, because you have to understand, New York in 1920, that was America. Yeah, there was Chicago, and there were other, Seattle, and a few St. Louis, a little area. New York was the heart and soul of the economic and political system of the country at that time. So Trump knows all this. It's
So,
right.
so if we overlay that time frame, then we know what happened then right after that in 1929. So is that where we're headed?
1929 will not happen again. Because that's why Trump said the final finale. This is it. This is go time. That whoever wins this war wins the system for the next 1,000 years. It's either centralized or decentralized. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no left, there's no right, there's no progressive, there's no conservative. It's either centralized or decentralized. That's the fight. Nationalists, and even, I wouldn't even say nationalists more than Republicanist, down to Illinois and Missouri and Florida and California. I've always said California, Missouri, Florida, they'll all have their own currency. They'll all have their own digital currency, and their reserves will be Bitcoin, gold, and land, and natural resources. When this is all said and done, the richest place in America will be Texas. Absolutely. Because they have the most land, they have the most natural resources, and they have their own gold treasury already, and they'll issue a digital Texas. They'll probably call it the Tex, or whatever. And what makes that feasible? Right, and that system existed before this. That system was known as the Confederacy prior to our Constitution. What made the Confederacy not work was the ability to exchange currencies efficiently. That's what locked up the Confederacy.
And now we have computers.
Right. It wasn't the idea of absolute decentralization of the Confederacy that was wrong. It was they couldn't exchange current. Everyone was basically landlocked because although Oklahoma could trade with Missouri because they sit right next to each other, the Oklahoma, and this is an example, the Oklahoma dollar would only absorb so far into Missouri, as far as about a day's walk, and Illinois' currency would only absorb into Missouri about a day's walk. Well, now with digital currencies and the ability to atomically swap currencies in less than a second, it's all feasible now. So we're not going back to 1776. We're going back to 1758. You know, I mean,
and that's the way it should be, right? I mean, if you read all the founding papers, that there was always a debate, but the best side of the debate was a weak national government, diversity among the states, decentralization among the states, and really a national government only for the purposes of defense. That really should be it.
Yep.
Yes. So is that where you see things going back to?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the internet has created such an overwhelming power to the individuals that I don't think people have even realized it yet. Last night, I explained it to my wife because she had said something, and I said, well, honey, this is what's happening. And after I explained it, she's like, holy shit, you're right. That's why everyone in our neighborhood is having problems with the pool company that cleans our pools. They can't hire enough people. And so we're having service issues. And I said, honey, what's going on is this, is every good pool cleaner who has that talent and has that equipment is creating a Facebook, or they have existing Facebook pages, and they're sharing that with their local neighborhoods. And they're like, hey, just let you guys know, I'm cleaning pools for myself. You know, I'll do it cheaper, better, blah, blah, blah. Plus, I live at, here's my address. And so those neighbors, they see that and go, oh, well, hell, I'll just use Bobby down the road here. So that word spreads amongst the other employees. Why work for a company when you, your mom, your dad, your sister, your uncle, your family can share one of your posts locally, and say you have 50 people reach out to you and go, hey, Bobby, yeah, hell, I'm paying these people $1,000 a year, you know, for like salt and all these other chemicals and cleaning, and I can't get no one on the phone. I'd rather give you the $1,000. Okay, you know, all of a sudden, within a month, this guy's making 50 grand a year. And that's just him. And he's making his own schedule. And he ain't got a boss chewing his ass every other job. Where you at? where you
Uh-huh.
at? Everything's going decentralization. With this is the biggest economic shift that people don't see coming. Now, it's happening and they're seeing it, but they're not recognizing what it is. The reason no one can hire anybody, number one, is is a perfect example is OnlyFans. Look at how many women.
Well, your page is doing great on there, I heard, Ben.
Oh yeah, all I do is walk past me and everyone runs over to everyone else's OnlyFans. I'm what they call the pusher. They put me up there, then a good looking guy, and everyone chooses a good looking guy. But that's what's going on is we are decentralizing into an individual economy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I opened my club here in Sarasota. Watch for locations in New Jersey and Nashville coming soon. Is while everyone else is like, oh, the internet's gonna mom and pop shops are dead. No, but what people don't understand is restaurants and all those things are going to have competition from women who are at home full time but offering home cooked meals in their neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where during the day they're making spaghetti, then they send out a Facebook post to all of their neighborhood people and go, hey, today I'm serving spaghetti. I got some great garlic bread, and send me a message. Let me know when you're picking up, and I'll walk it out to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, think about it. Do you want to drive all the way to your neighborhood, hang a right, pull up, honk, send her a little message? She brings you out a hot cooked homemade meal that you take home to your family because it's going to be hot. You're just right down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a home cooked meal prepared by a neighbor, and you pay her via PayPal or Zella or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening. It's and I can't be the only mother plucker realizing this.
Well, Ben, it's so interesting. You were talking about everything going back to like the 1910s, and this is just another thing. I mean, you know history better than I do, but most people think that having a 9-to-5 job and working 40 hours a week has just been the way we've done it for 2,000 years. It's not. That started with Henry Ford. And that was in I think 1913, because he needed people every day to show up and work on his assembly line. Before that, 100 years ago, no one did that. You worked as a family. You worked in your local area, just like you're describing. You worked in your local community, and you did whatever you were good at. And these local communities thrived, and you didn't go spend 40 hours a week in some office sitting in a cubicle. That never happened before. So it's all coming back to the way it used to be.
Yep. Everything that centralizes eventually decentralizes because of pressure. It as above is below. And the universe works off of frequency, pressure, and harmony. All right. frequencies that are close to each other harmonize.
Mm-hmm.
They come together and they harmonize. Frequency under pressure creates what's called frequency friction, right? A good example of frequency friction is when a woman with a high pitched voice sings and breaks a glass across the room. That's frequency friction. That's where her voice matches the frequency of the glass and it breaks. That's frequency friction. Well, that's also what creates matter, is frequency friction. Frequency friction at the center of the earth, along with the magnetism, which causes pressure, creates a spark, and that spark is frequency friction. What is created from the spark is ash that we call carbon.
Mm.
Right? And everything on earth is made out of carbon. So when you understand, and that's what Nikola Tesla was trying to explain to people. Once you understand 369, you understand the universe. 369 is frequency, magnetism, and pressure. That's it. That's what creates, and that's what actually balances out the universe. See, gravity is, we call it gravity, and I'm sorry, Albert Einstein, you're a dipshit. E equals mc squared does not mathematically work out. Ask any physicist, and they'll agree, yes, in the end, his math doesn't work out. It's because he labels the atom as the lowest factor, that everything's atomic. No, everything's frequency. And atom is the harmony of frequency with a charge. The charge is magnetism. And so what holds us to the ground isn't some magical, invisible power. Well, it is in a way, but it's harmony. It's harmony of frequency. We as people, we put out a certain frequency. The earth puts out, it's what you said, or actually what my friend earlier said, oh, I went to the beach and got grounded. Yeah. That when you ground with something, that's harmony. The act of grounding is harmony. It harmonizes the frequency.
That's a real thing.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not full of shit. It's once you understand that the scientific community of the Western world is absolutely full of shit and has taught people on purpose a faulty way of doing science, then you understand why they can manipulate the data. because they're not coming from the source. They're coming from the atom. Well, the atom you can manipulate. You can manipulate an atom. You can manipulate DNA. You can manipulate all this. But when you come from it from a point of view of frequency, then you understand that you can create it. That you don't have to manipulate it, you can create it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if people knew how powerful humans really were, it would blow people's minds. Because, all right, Nikolai Tesla, I don't know how much people know about Nikolai Tesla.
I was just going to ask you, this is something else that's coming full circle, right? I mean, he had all this stuff figured out. It was suppressed. Then I don't know how much you know about it. I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a lot of rumors that it's Trump somehow ended up with it, with his uncle and
Yes.
whatever else. What do you know about that?
All right, Trump's uncle was specifically called to pick up the documents out of Nikolai Tesla's office after he died. All right, we can go into Trump's lineage on a later episode. I'll have you on again. And
I like it.
We'll do that. All right. Nikolai Tesla. They used to call him crazy. And like he's a lunatic. He walks around talking to himself. Google that. Google Tesla talks to ghosts. There was an article written in New York, and it was about how this inventor would walk around New York talking to himself. And that, those intelligent people are very intelligent, but they're weird. No. What they leave out is that Nikolai Tesla was outside talking to himself. But over in Germany, his assistant was writing down what Nikolai Tesla was saying. Because what Nikolai Tesla said and discovered was, because we've all heard Nikolai Tesla really invented the cell phone. He did, but that was another corrupted story. What Nikolai Tesla realized is that we are the cell phone. That collective consciousness of humanity is a network of communications of frequencies. And all you had to do was have the ability and the knowledge of how to alter your frequency to align with someone else's frequency, and you could communicate over the collective consciousness network. And so while everyone thought he was walking around talking to himself, he was outside. So there was, because he didn't know if would lead block it. So he needed to be outside walking around in his bare feet, grounded. Right. And he would talk to himself. And his associate over in Germany, well, initially he tried it with one of his assistants that were about a mile away, and it worked. So he wanted to go, okay, wait a second here. I wonder how far this network goes. So he walked outside. They agreed on a time, walked outside, and his assistant in Germany heard in his head the words Nikolai Tesla was saying, then wrote it down in a letter and mailed it to him.
Wow.
Right? That was the proof of all of this that Trump's uncle got
Do you
and
think?
brought into the federal government that wasn't actually the federal government. It was the federal government wasn't shaped yet. The progressive federal government wasn't shaped yet.
Mm-hmm. So is this stuff gonna? You think we're gonna start seeing this come back out again soon?
Well, I would argue we've already seen it. We've already known of these events, but we call it witchcraft. We call it like being a medium, because prior to the Age of Enlightenment, or the Age of Logic, the Charles, Darwin horse shit. Humans knew about this. The communications centers of the world of the civilizations before us knew this. That's what all of the pyramids are.
Mm-hmm.
They're just broadcasting towers. That's it. Did you see the interview of the guy this week or last week who did the press release on the complex up in Antarctica?
Oh, I heard about that. Yes.
All right. So basically what he said, Google it. If anyone thinks I'm full of crap, Google it or DuckDuckGo, whatever you want to do. All right. This facility, now this is not a janitor at the facility. This guy ran the facility and he did a press conference. And he basically said, I got to let the people know what's going on. Is this facility, he said, had the ability to communicate at faster than the speed of light. The only thing faster than the speed of light is consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he drew a picture and had diagrams of the facility. It's a building on top. Then there's a tunnel that goes deep into the earth. All right. Look at the pyramids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got pyramids down there.
Right. Well, not just that. Look how the pyramids are shaped.
Mm-hmm.
That you see part of them up on top, but there's always in the center of the pyramid, there is a cavern that goes straight down for like hundreds and hundreds of feet, because that's the grounding mechanism of the earth. It's what grounds the communication device so that the communications can go through air or Earth. The
Mhm.
Earth generates the common frequency. All right. This is going to get a little bit into the weeds. All right. We've all seen like those little screens where it's like boop, 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 boop,
Mhm.
and it shows a frequency.
Mhm.
All right. There's a such thing as a common, or if you're doing electric, it's your ground. All right.
Mhm.
That's your common. Anything you want to run on top of that system has to be grounded out. Right.
Mhm.
So the ground of the earth gives you your common frequency. Then your other frequencies can run on top of that common frequency. Now in the air, it's a little different because those aren't those are like Wi-Fi. All right, they're limited broadcast. That's why there's pyramids all over the world.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because as it was broadcast out, once you hit an area that the curvature of the earth would not allow, you have another period,
Mhm.
another pyramid. Each pyramid was just a node
Mhm.
all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, just common sense thinking about when you look. I mean, if you don't, when you learn about history and you're growing up and you find out there's pyramids built all over the world. I mean, just common sense to say, well, they they, they didn't all just decide to suddenly start building pyramid shaped buildings all over
Yeah.
the world, South America, Europe, Africa. I mean,
Now,
yes, I mean, really, come on.
here's something that's going to blow your mind. And I am the only person who's figured this out. All right. And this is not a hypothesis. Happened. The fact that other people haven't figured it out yet, not my problem.
Let's hear it.
The earth used to be smaller, a lot smaller.
Hmm.
All right. And these, what we call the continents, were the crust of the earth. All right. And the pyramids existed at that time.
Mm.
So there were pyramids all over the planet, but the planet was smaller. That's why the days and the years were shorter. That's why Abraham and all these biblical people lived so long. Their years were an eighth of what our years are now.
Interesting.
All right. So these earlier civilizations communicated through the pyramids on this smaller Earth. The pyramids are part of, and are the pyramids were the towers of Babel,
Mm.
and God destroyed the towers of Babel,
Mm-hmm.
and then the flood.
Mm.
The
Mm-hmm.
flood was God. That read the Bible, it's clear as day. God sent frequencies to make the earth grow. and separate the language technology, which was the pyramids, the towers of Babel, where the people couldn't communicate anymore.
Oh, interesting.
And look at Genesis. How did God create the heavens and earth? He spoke
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
them into existence.
That's right.
Frequency. Once you understand Tesla, you understand. That's why Tesla said, once you understand 369, it all makes sense.
Mm.
It's this is not my opinion. This is what happened. That was the flood of Noah.
Interesting. Wow.
Because the DNA of the humans had been corrupted.
Mm-hmm. That's in the Bible too.
Yeah. A lot of that is in Enoch.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
Right? One of the chapters left out. One of the books left out. You know, here's something else that'll pop your brain. The English language was created after the flood to manipulate humans through phonics, through frequencies, because the earlier languages were natural languages, where the English language used frequencies to manipulate the frequencies of humans.
Mm.
And that's why they created the English language. So that's why when you go to school and they're teaching you to read, they're teaching you spelling.
Hmm.
You're creating a spell
Mm-hmm.
when you use the English language.
Mm.
And like Arabic and all those other, all of the older languages, they didn't have adjectives, right? Because adjectives are words to influence emotion. That's what adjectives are.
Mm-hmm.
It's how the media tricks the American people is that instead of saying Trump claims that the 2020 election was corrupt, they'll say Trump wrongly claims that the election of 2020 was rigged.
Mm-hmm.
So they add the word wrongly, which sets the agenda of the sentence. The agenda of the sentence is to manipulate the mind of the listener with that word. It's setting the context of the sentence. And that's because that's what magic is its manipulation of consciousness and manipulation of frequency. And frequency is how we communicate. If you can manipulate the communications, then you are programming the human with frequency. And they created the English language because the prior languages were all naturally harmony. They were naturally evolved languages that were very general, so that the person talking would leave it up to the interpretation of the listener to understand the sentence. That's why we hear a lot, well, there's not really an English translation, or there's not really an Arabic translation out of English, because the English language and the alphabet was created to manipulate and translate the knowledge they wanted people to have. The Crusades were a push to push the English language. That's what it was. The Catholic Church, along with the Illuminati, which are the Khazarian Jews, right, teamed up and created the English language. They then went on a war, a language war, to spread, they said, Christianity, when really it was English. Their goal was to spread English, right? They used the transitioning old governance structure of religion to prepare the people for the new control system, which would be governments. The Age of Enlightenment was the transition from the natural rule into the rules of man. And that's what the Crusades were about. And before that, a little bit.
This is why I love chatting with you, Ben, because you're just blowing a lot of minds here. This is amazing stuff.
I love history, and I love real history.
Real history, that's right. Yes. Well, and real history, even going back to something you said earlier, I was never taught. I never knew that they had the masks, everyone wearing the masks in New York back in the Spanish flu. I never knew that until you start looking at the old photos, and then it's all there. But they never told us any of that.
Nope. Everyone, the big slogan was "Put on the mask."
Wow. And they're just rolling the same plan out 100 years later.
That's what the progressive does. And what I want people to understand, the shift we're going through now is the what they call the fourth or the third turning. All right. When we switched from religion to government organization, now we're switching from government organization into one of two systems. The
Mhm.
progressives in the 1930s and 1940s, one of the progressives wrote a book called The Road We Are Traveling, right? And they talked about System X.
Yeah,
That,
X.
yeah, that the progressive movement would lead us into System X. Well, Google Obama documentary, The Road We Have Traveled.
Mm.
It was written as for the progressives because in 1941 or 1933, one of those, they wrote the book, The Road We Are Traveling, and gave an outline for the next 90 to 100 years. And it would end with System X. They didn't have a name for it. And then Obama, at the end of his term, they did a documentary called The Road We Are Traveling. So they put out a book, The Road We Are Traveling. Then Obama's documentary was The Road We Have Traveled.
Just a coincidence.
Right. And the reason it ended at Obama, or they thought it ended at Obama, was because Hillary was supposed to be next.
Mm-hmm.
And America was supposed to fall.
Mm-hmm.
America was supposed to go to war with China and lose. And then overlay World War One. And that's the rest of their playbook.
So, okay, so what comes next? Because it feels like, so we've got two systems that are still fighting it out to take over. You've got even more centralization with FedNow and more control and tighter grip, and you're not going to really own your money. That's what the one system. Then the other system is this local decentralization, more individual control. Is that the battle that's being fought? And then do we ultimately see 45 back in office?
Yeah.
You were one of the first people, Ben. I mean, I remember back in 2019 talking to you and covering some of your shows even back then. And you said, we're coming to two different America. There's going to be two simultaneous Americas.
It will split.
Yes. So I mean, if you can put, what are we looking at next? What's most likely to happen?
All right, this is what's going to happen. Remember, Trump has always said his favorite president was Andrew Jackson.
Yes.
Right. The plan, and I'm talking Q here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. The plan is overlaying Andrew Jackson's presidencies with Trump's. Andrew Jackson won the first of his presidencies. He wasn't supposed to. Then he lost the second run because they cheated.
Most people don't know that.
Right. Then he won the one after that. And after Andrew Jackson was president for 4 years, the 4 years that he had lost because it had gotten stolen, he went around the country, he toured, he educated the people on the central bank, the Illuminati. Right? He educated the people on the Illuminati. So then he was reelected. Now, mind you, he had friends inside the government that were helping him.
It sounds so familiar. It's crazy.
Oh, it gets even weirder. Andrew Jackson had a close friend in Florida who helped him win the election by running for president and tricked the Illuminati to actually back that guy against Andrew Jackson.
Wow.
So history rhymes, doesn't it?
That's incredible.
Right. And ironically, the guy was from Florida. So then Andrew Jackson's reelected. And that's when he gets rid of the central bank. Is in his third term.
Mm-hmm. The first time they tried to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and so he got rid of the central bank. Well, they reissued a currency out of the treasury. See, there will be a digital dollar, right? But it's not going to be a global reserve dollar. It will be an American digital dollar ran out of the treasury.
There you go. Okay.
Right. So just like Andrew Jackson, he's going to get rid of the central bank and use the treasury like it should be. And have no fear, guys and gals. This is just playing out because just like in 1920, there's going to be an Operation Clean Sweep. And that's what Q is talking about is hey guys, we've been here before. You guys don't know it because you were never taught it. You don't know the true American history. If the American people knew the true American history, we wouldn't be having this problem. Because we would all know that the progressive movement is the global elite using a naturally destructive economic model to destroy a republic from the inside out. That's what they did with Prussia. That's what they did with the Weimar Republic. It's all the same formula, but if you're not educated and you don't know the history, then you don't know, you wouldn't recognize the warning signs.
Yep, that's right. Be doomed to repeat it.
Yep, that's what they've done. They've whitewashed history so that modern people who hear or who read Q or get involved in the freedom movement, they read what Q's written and they don't understand it. They're like, well, this all sounds so weird. But it's not. In the 1920s, all right, child abuse networks have been around forever. In the 19 teens and before, that's when they implemented like a child protective services.
Right.
child labor laws. Um, all of these structures, well, they were funneling children out of unacceptable housing situations and into the underground of the child trafficking in the 1920s. And so that was all happening too. Right? The eugenics movements, the Sangers of the world, because she had a crush on Hitler. It's
Yeah, real charming lady. Yeah, she is.
Oh yeah, she was a doll.
Yeah.
Let's kill all the black children. That'll get us to heaven. That's almost a quote from her.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, I all this stuff, you just made me think of something. I don't know if I can share my screen or not. Let me try. But let me see if it'll let me do this. I got to ask you if you've ever heard of this, because this is kind of crazy. Let's see. Let's go to. I think this will do it. Yeah, there we go. If you, yep. Yeah, look at that. There you go. Look at this. You've probably seen this before. Have you ever heard of this? This is written in 1890. I don't even know what to make of this. I've covered this before. I'm not even telling you what to think about this, but this book was written, and here it is. I'll show you the Amazon version. This is on Amazon, written in, now this is the updated version, 2018, but if you read the description, in 1890, Ingersoll Lockwood wrote this book called The Barron Trump Novels. I mean, I don't even know what to do with that. And his oh, by the way, his dog was named Bulger, which I think didn't Durham, isn't he famous for prosecuting Whitey Bulger? So, I mean, just the names keep popping up, and look at this. Here's one of the original covers of the book. I mean, look how similar they look. I don't even know what to make of this, but this is written in 1890. And the narrative of the book, I mean, that the title alone would be enough, but the narrative is all about the last president. It's a kid who lives in New York City. He lives in the tallest tower in New York City. Have you ever seen this before? It's crazy.
What's the author's name?
Yeah, where is it? Ingersoll Lockwood.
All right. Trace his family tree.
All
right. You said 1890, right?
Right.
So that was right during Reconstruction that he wrote that. So Trump's family would have already been here.
Mm-hmm.
Look and see, because if I actually tell people, they won't believe it. Look and see who the author of that book is related to.
Okay, I'm gonna look into it.
Yep. It will pop your brain.
All right, I'm going to look at that. We're going to talk about it the next time we get together, because this is already blowing my mind. But I mean, if there's more to it than that, that's crazy.
I'll give you a hint. All right. The explanation for that book is linked with Nikolai Tesla and the fact that time is a human concept, and that everything is happening at the same time at the level of consciousness.
Mm.
See, we don't have to time travel because we are already we already exist in a plane that has no past, has no future. We exist in a plane that everything is the now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just the frequency of consciousness on which the now is determined. So while we look at that, what you just posted, simultaneously on another frequency, and I'm not talking about parallel universes,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm talking about the same ground frequency. The universe has a constant frequency. That our universe blends into a network of universes that blend into the harmony of consciousness. And at each level is just a different frequency under a stronger frequency above it. So think of low voltage in your house, and then think of the power line outside,
Mm-hmm.
and how you have transformers along the way that lower and adjust the frequency. Each one of those transformers are a universe or a planet or a human, and we're all just broadcasting on the same ground, which is the ground of consciousness. We're just wireless electricity, and everything in existence is a node of that consciousness.
All right. Well, I'm gonna look into that guy's family or his history. We're gonna get back to you on that one. That's wild.
That's chew on that for a while, folks. And people ask me why I'm always happy and I never have like a down day. Because once you know what we are and what this all is, it's experience. That's it.
Mm.
There's no fear. There's no we can't be destroyed because we are everything. We're just points of consciousness that we chose.
You were talking earlier, Ben, about everything being made up of carbon, which is of course true, and that's what we're made up of mostly. But understand that, and then try and think, what are they trying to get rid of? The carbon.
Yeah,
that's not good.
No. That proves out their lie. How do you get rid of carbon on an earth where everything's made out of carbon?
That's right.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's all bullshit. It's all just manipulation of consciousness to influence power at a certain frequency. There are certain humans that want to control this level frequency that we all exist on. That's it. They want to be the controlling frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want them to, because we are naturally decentralized frequencies.
Yes. Wow. Amazing stuff, Ben.
And we've only been going for an hour and 45 minutes.
Well, hey, can we I want to dig into some of this stuff a little bit more and really get into 45 a lot more too. Maybe next week or sometime maybe we can do this again.
Yeah. How about we actually make it like a I'll get a hold of you, because I'm looking at like my calendars up on the wall. Let's do it in about 2 weeks. How about July 14th?
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
All right, that's on a Friday.
I like it. Yep.
Awesome. Well, all of my viewers, Noah, where can they find you?
Yeah, we're really active on Twitter now that it's, at least for the time being, safe and free speech. So start there. It's at Daily Noah News. That's probably the best spot. And then WLTreport.com. Those are the two spots.
Awesome. And
no.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay. And for me,
yes,
if you want everything I put out, the best place is my Patreon. I post everything I put out. And the reason, I always give the reason why I give Patreon. A lot of people want to communicate with me, like send me messages and go, okay, you got to explain X. You got to explain this. There's a lot of fake me's out there, right? So if you go to my Patreon channel, which is patreon.com/PitcoinPen, it's only $5 a month. The reason I do that is so anyone wanting to get a hold of me or communicate and watch all my content, it's right there.
I love it. So they go to Patreon and then they just search. Do they search Bitcoin Ben?
Yep.
Perfect. Yep. I'm on there with you, Ben. I've it's so fun to chat with you. We got to do it more often, because I've been following your stuff since, boy, it had to have been 2017, 2018 at this point. And you've just been that was when you were in the truck. I remember that you were doing shows in the truck. And you've been right about so many things, and you're usually a couple years out. You're kind of looking farther down the road, and then sure enough, there it is. So we're going to have to keep this conversation going, and people can find you on Patreon. And then your other, Ben, a lot of times I'll throw you on my earpods and listen to you, and I'm not always watching, but and you always talk about one of your company's Calyx solutions. And
yes.
if you're not watching the screen, you might not know how to spell that. So it's CALIX. Is that right? If people want to find you there?
Yes. Calyx Solutions is, we have crypto laptops where we educate you on how to get involved safely in cryptos. With our laptops, we actually do like a Zoom call with you. Then we have a Liberty laptop, which with the Internet of Things, your laptop listens to you, your TV, everything listens to you. What we do is we actually take laptops and we manipulate them to where they're yours and they can't be accessed by outside entities.
Yeah, that's
Shall we
so
say.
good. It's such a great mission. I love what you're doing there, and everybody
Yep.
could
And,
benefit from one of those.
and call 702-845-8276 and say that you heard about it on Noah's show. So Noah gets credit.
All right, that's cool. I love what you're doing. I love the mission. Tell Patrick hi for me.
I will.
All right, Ben. We'll see you July 14th, and we'll do another one of these. I'm gonna have to do my homework before we do it, and we'll make it we'll make it a big one.
Yep. And if you're in Sarasota, Florida, or near it, check out our new crypto club. We just opened in Sarasota.
Oh, very
I'm
cool.
here right now, in fact.
So tell me about it, Ben. What people come in and hang out at the club, or what do you do?
It's a community center for crypto education and entrepreneurs. So we have a lot of people who are working from home now. Well, we have people who come here and work from here. And we have chairs, we have free drinks. If you're a member, you join and you get access to our website, which is, in this graph, behind me. And it's the future of the economy now. We teach you how to individualize your economic life.
That's great.
And how you can make money as an entrepreneur working for yourself in this new economy. So if you're interested in that, if you want to learn how to get away from your job, that's what we do.
You got to do that because you can't wear a banana shirt to work, can you?
Yep.
Well, you can wear a banana shirt when you work for yourself.
A wise man once said, a good entrepreneur doesn't wear a watch.
Oh, I like it.
Because he's on his own time.
Very nice.
And if you're interested in learning how to move away from the old system, call 1-941-960. It's right under my actual name right here, 1180. And they will get you hooked up on our website if you're not in Sarasota. If you're in Sarasota, it's all there. We're here to help.
I wish I was down there.
Noah sent you.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I was there, Ben. That sounds awesome. I'll have to make a trip down sometime.
Well, let me know when you do, and we will schedule you for one of our Wednesday entrepreneur events.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Now, listen, I got one problem though. I'm terrified of all the alligators you got down there. What's going on with your alligator situation?
We're good here at the club. I did see one by my house about 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And I don't mess with anything that looks like a dinosaur.
Exactly.
I'm anti-dinosaur looking things.
Me too. All right, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, stay safe down there. Good chat.
Yep. All right. Bye-bye.